jump in.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff, right?
Here we are. We're in it.
We're in it.
In it to win it. Sorry for my voice, everyone. I'm not sick, but like I was sick, and then I had a birthday, and then I got super hammered, and stoned, and then I remember like it was like 2 a.m. at the party, and I was like, oh man, I don't feel good. I need to stop. And then I woke up the next day, and I was like, fuck. I'm sick again.
Welcome to 28, man. You can't drink without feeling like shit.
Welcome to 28, baby. Yeah, fuck, man. It was a rough go, but it was fun. This is what I realized though. Having a party sucks. I'll tell you why. It's at your house. It's gonna get trashed. You got to clean it up. And some people just like when they're hammered, they don't really care about certain things. Like if they make a hole in your wall, they're like, "That wasn't me." You know what I mean? Like whatever. Number 2, you realize that like when you invite everyone to your house, no one knows each other. They just know you.
So you feel responsible for
So
them?
you have to go around and mingle and like connect. And I don't know about you, man, but you know, depending how much weed I've smoked, I'm not really the most social guy.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of a thing too, right? You got to take in consideration. And you're kind of just being that host all night, and you're trying to keep it together a little bit. And so luckily it was at my buddy's place, so I didn't have to have it here and trash it. It was at my buddy's place, but he didn't have a buzzer. So every time someone came, I had to go downstairs and get him.
You got to have a buzzer.
You got to have a buzzer.
Right? Or you're just in the elevator all night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Who wants to do that? Then you're not even doing the hosting job of like connecting people who don't know each other, and everybody just stands around kind of like, oh, you know Zach? Yeah, how do you know Zach? Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Where is Zach? I haven't seen Zach all night, you know?
Dude, I remember getting a phone call from some person who's like, hey man, there's like 6 of us down here. I don't really know anyone here, but there's like 6 people that are here for the same party. And I was like, oh shit.
Nice.
I got to put my watch on, and it like gives me alerts. The watch does. So I had it when I'm mingling around and stuff, so I'd get vibrated on the wrist. But it was so annoying, mid-conversation with someone so deep, and they're like, oh yeah, and then I was doing this. I'm like, sorry. I gotta go.
So you got the elevator buzzing to your watch.
No. I just got people texting me to my watch.
Because, I mean, that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Right? Yeah, that'd be no problem. I'd just be in conversation.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I gotta go. I gotta get the elevator. my watch is buzzing. I don't have one of these smartwatches yet.
Dude,
so
I'm telling you now, it has changed my life a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a build-up and a letdown.
Yeah, changed my. I had a smartwatch and then I never knew how to set it up. And
why? You just gave up on that?
yeah.
Yeah. If you have a smartwatch and you give up on it, you don't deserve it. You know what I mean? That's just how it is.
You're in the wrong game if you're giving up, girl. You can't give up on these things.
Technology. I'm just like, I already feel like so bothered by my phone sometimes at the idea. My mom gave me a smartwatch. And the idea of having something else that's going to be like buzzing and bothering me, I'm just like, no. I was kind of, she gave it to me and I was like, oh, thanks. Like, I wouldn't have bought it for myself.
That's how you said
but
it?
I'm an actress. It sounded more sincere than that.
Hilarious.
But I can see I can see how useful it is. But for me, my phone already gives me anxiety.
Yeah. Totally. I've turned off a lot of things. Like like Instagram notifications used to come up my watch. I was like, fuck that. That's ridiculous. And now I just have it limited to certain people.
Is that why you haven't answered me?
Is that why?
I've been sending you pictures, bro. I've been sending you messages.
I've been calling you, dude.
I don't know what's up with this. That guy, he just doesn't answer.
He's ghosting you.
Yeah, totally notification off.
Definitely Instagram though, man, is like it can take over.
100%. I did you see my post?
No.
I'm taking a break until after Christmas.
Oh, I saw that post. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
So
deleted
you're not going
it.
to post about this podcast episode?
No.
That's all good. I got you.
I guess we're
you
gonna have to do
got me.
I
that.
got you covered. I feel like you don't really, anyways. Do you?
I share the story, but I don't have that many followers anyway. So it
Yeah,
doesn't
I got you.
matter.
I got you covered.
Yet,
Yeah.
you're on the upswing. You know. I think I've seen a couple of your posts about the podcast.
Yeah, hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
see?
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put them out.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just over the holidays, I just want to see what it's like without it.
Yeah.
You know? See if I feel better.
you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be you're just going to be in your own thoughts a lot more.
Well, I also downloaded a book on my phone. So then instead of scrolling, I'm reading.
What book?
Untethered Soul.
Yeah, I got to get
that's
that
good.
book.
Yeah,
you read it?
you do.
No, I've got it on the shelf. I've read a lot of others in the same world and spirit. It was gifted to me once, but
I just finished my first book today.
What did you...
Wait a
what were
second.
you
The
reading?
Alchemist.
what does that mean?
Sick. Can I borrow it?
Yeah, you can borrow it.
Wait a second.
Nice.
Yeah.
What? Your first book?
Ever. Of all time.
What is it?
Because, dude, I don't read books, man. Like,
Come on, you did as a kid growing up.
No, I mean, I read books in school, like classrooms
all
and
right,
stuff.
all right.
And we finished books together. But I never, like, went out and, like, oh, I'm going to go to Chapters and buy a book. And, like, no, dude. Like, I came up around the time when YouTube was popping off. And,
Right, okay.
And podcasts were there. I got all of my information. So, I mean, for me to sit down, I'm dyslexic as well.
Okay, yeah.
So
All
it's
right.
it's just
Good
like
for you then, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So I got into reading books because of acting. To be honest, wait, got into reading books like it's a hobby. I just read this book.
Finishes
I
his
got
first
it,
book
yeah.
last week. He's like, let me tell you
Today,
about reading. Let me tell
today
you.
I finished
I've got
it.
a new course on reading coming out next week. It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
Reading
But
was that?
but
Yeah.
no, dude, that's great.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. No,
Tell me about
no.
the book. I've always wanted to read it. It's been recommended to me a ton.
basically,
Oh, it's a favorite.
Basically, I started reading it when I first moved here. I was 23 years old, and I got up halfway through it, and then a buddy wanted to borrow it. Same situation as what you're asking me right now, because he heard about it and he borrowed it. Never heard back from it, whatever. But it's about a guy trying to find out his journey, his personal legend, and how many times like real things come up in his life that are more convenient. Like he became rich in a city and found a beautiful woman. Like, why would you leave that? Because it's not your personal legend. It's not your goal, your dream, your ambition. And you learn these things along the way of achieving your goals and your dream. It's amazing.
Cool.
If you're an upcoming actor, I mean, fucking read it for sure. Yeah, it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, no,
Can't wait to read it.
it's great. I'm all over that whole like kind of spiritual life path, growth genre of living and reading and learning, and yeah, it's great stuff.
Just by looking at you, though, I can tell that.
Come on.
And I mean that in a good way. Yeah.
Does he look zen? Is that why?
Zen right out.
I used to look like you, bro. Maybe not quite as jacked once, but I definitely like, short hair and then kind of clean shaven and stuff.
Yeah.
And then and then we started to shift.
So you haven't always been this.
What was the shift?
Yeah.
I just burnt out, I was just like heavy corporate, and I was doing a lot of like just corporate stuff, running public companies and running a lot of startups, things like this. And it was a different culture for me. I drank a lot. I, didn't look after myself, wasn't eating well, all of that, right? So I just wore, I feel, a lot of that stress that came with that world.
Wow. Pull that mic a little closer to your face.
And
Like
was your
this, bro?
There you do. You sound better. Yeah.
Oh, do I sound better?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, man.
Pull that down,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
and
there
after
we
your
go.
burnout, is that when you started acting, or were you acting before that?
I started when I was younger, like when I was in my early 20s, and dabbled with it a bit, and prior to that, we all play around like in high school and stuff like that. But yeah, like after that period, I started to kind of awaken creatively around the same time, because I felt like just kind of the pain I was feeling. Speaking of The Alchemist, right? Kind of like not doing what your path is all about, and what really sings for you. You just start to reach into what does, even though you might not have the answers of how it's all going to work out. You just kind of trust and leap. So, for me, a lot of that was opening creatively, starting to flex on my ideas, like really exploring what's possible, right? Other than kind of that tough lifestyle I was living. And, I'm still 1 foot into that world. I've got the skills I've developed in that world, but definitely shifted and shook it up and, really changed what I was doing in a way that was more balanced and healthy and holistic and, kind of, I guess, inspired and fulfilling for me, right? So, yeah, it was a big shift. So as I started to do that, the hair started to grow. And right? To loop this all back around to like how I look, right? I mean, yeah, I look a little bit different than the average bear. I mean, I'm used to it. I'm comfortable with it, but it's part of the expression, right? And it's also part of just like just being comfortable in myself and my own skin and kind of flowing with my energy more than trying to force things to happen, which I used to do quite a bit.
So how old were you when the shift happened?
I was, I guess, like, I'm 39 now, so I was about 32-ish, I guess, 33, you know?
It just shifted, just like that?
Not overnight. It's just started to happen. You know, I started to feel in my body, and things that I'd done for years and years just started to feel uncomfortable, you know? Like I couldn't just go sit at a bar and drink beer all night like I used to. Like everything just kind of started to annoy me about it. And it was like uncomfortable for me to sit there. And like sensorily, some of it was overwhelming, and the music was too loud. And you know what I mean? It was like lots of...
getting bitter.
Lots of that, you know it. Yeah, 30s, bro, you know? It's like...
I even find that too. Like I was a couple months ago and I went to the Roxy. It was the first time I'd gone out to like a club in Vancouver, and it's like just not very appealing to me.
Oh, well, I go out and I'm social now, and like, you know, I drink water when I go out.
You do? You don't drink at all?
Yeah, I'm 6 years.
Sober?
6 years sober, yeah.
Wow, oh, man. Here's me talking about my party and how wild I was being at my party.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, man.
Sorry, dude. I didn't know that.
No, well, no judgment, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy and others. I mean, like, if you're train wrecking in my face, I'd probably, like, sit you down and get you a glass of water. You do what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's the point where people are like, let me touch your hair, let me grab your hat, or like, you know, when people get fully like deep into the party mode where...
Yeah, you were telling, I think you and Duncan were saying that people just like grab your hair when you're out too.
Sometimes, yeah. And
that
you
there's
know,
double standard.
Well, yeah, that's a whole world to,
I
to delve into, right?
You guys have beautiful hair.
Thanks, bro. You know? No, but that's it. It's like kind of personal boundaries and energetic boundaries, right? Which are like just when people get, you know, drunk or wasted or whatever, they tend to be kind of passed through. You know what I mean? So I'm cognizant and conscious of those things, but I like going out and being social. I mean, I enjoy people and having a good time and stuff like that. I just do it in different ways than I used to, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool, man. So what was the shift for you for not drinking anymore, though? Or was it just part of that whole, I guess, the entire...
It was all close to the same phase, you know? I've been plant-based for about six and a half years now. So that was kind of the first moves. Mm-hmm. And tried to quit drinking, you know, a couple times. And then did and then didn't. And, you know, finally it stuck, right? But it was a thing of feeling into myself and what felt good and what didn't.
Right.
I mean, my digestion was off. My sleep was off a bit. Emotionally, I felt I was a bit up and down and things like that, you know. So I started to clean up my diet and, you know, got rid of the things that didn't feel right, you know.
How do you feel not eating meat?
Like a king, bro. Like a king. It's pretty cool because we've got so many great plant-based options now.
The city's crazy for it.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like, where's the meat nowadays in the city? Like,
right.
where can I get a steak?
Right.
Yeah.
Or you can go to a steakhouse and they'll be like, oh, yeah, we've got a plant-based option for you.
Yeah.
Here's a vegan plant-based steak option.
I was a vegan for a bit in Edmonton, and that was a challenge.
Really? Why?
Well, because Edmonton, there's not that many options, right?
It is pretty bad there, yeah.
Yeah, like
I feel like it's better now, though.
I'm sure it's better now, but I feel like you go to a restaurant here and they always have an option, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of places in Edmonton that didn't.
Well, Vancouver likes to try and be progressive, I feel, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, a lot of good options and opportunities. It's a fast-growing trend, so lots of people are asking for it now, which usually starts moving the yardstick, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels great. Like shifted my whole life.
Well, that's good, man. It sounds like it's a positive thing. So before the shift, were you also acting?
No, not much.
So you kind of got into acting in your mid-30s, essentially.
Well, I was in it when I was in my early 20s. And
to what capacity? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing? In your
same
early
kind of
20s?
game, you know. Did a show. I had a speaking spot on a show back then, but I was like and I wasn't recurring or anything. It was a day play or whatever, and some commercials and whatnot, right? But I was just a puppy. Like I was still smoking. I was smoking a lot of dope, and I was drinking a lot of beer, and you know, I wasn't terribly present or focused.
Yeah.
Well,
I get
just
it.
exploring life, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's different, and it feels different for me now. Now it's like therapeutic and cathartic, and I'm tuned into the energy of it and the magic of it. You know, it's just it's rewarding on a whole nother level, right? So yeah, it's dope to be a part of.
That's awesome, man.
And you're studying with Andrew McElroy, right?
Well, I was, up until the spring. Open to jam with him again as it aligns. I had some other stuff come up in the last few months that needed some attention in balance. You know, other areas of my entrepreneurial world and whatnot. And so I just took a bit of a break from the intensive studies, and allowed some of that work to integrate, you know,
right.
like kind of by osmosis, like organically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I did like 9 months, like give or take, right? It was like 3 sessions with them, 3 semesters.
And it's pretty intense, right? It's pretty.
Andrew's so rad. Like if you're thinking of studying with someone, I mean, I got so much time for him. It's the style, right? It's that kind of tough love. So it shakes you out of your comfort zone, but it's still respectful and honoring, the craft and the fact that, you have the courage to go and do the work, right? And participate in this world. And he holds that space, honorably, I feel, for you. So he can beat you up, but he'll cradle you as he's doing it in a way that you grow through it, right? So the tools and techniques that he shared and instilled in my craft is like, I'm so fired up about it, and I'm so confident in what I'm doing now. And it's like, you walk in a room and it's like, all right, let's go. There's not like this green level of, I'm just happy to be here. You kind of know if you're in the room actually working with somebody or not, what the difference of that feels like, right? And then when you drop in like that, man, you're just so liberated. You're like, oh yeah, let's play, right? It's fantastic. Yeah.
So what made you want to get into acting? What was your journey to acting? What made you want to get into it in the first place?
Yeah, great question. I mean, thanks.
Well, he's a fucking stud.
So you're like, this face needs to be on screen.
Here's that $20, bro. Thanks. Thanks for the plug.
You,
what a charmer, man. Thank you. I mean, come on. I'm an artist, and I come from a family of real capable business people, entrepreneurs, financiers, and similar. So that was kind of the first thrust for me. Was business on that side. But even in that world, I started to really embrace my creativity. And I produce music as well. I spin deep house, and
cool.
That's my jam big time. And if you see me in a good dance room, I'm in the corner kind of jamming, and you know what I mean? Like I got all those flows, and this is an extension of that. And I feel there's so many just fantastic things about this world. It's vibrational, it's energetic, it's connected with so much kind of synchronicity and serendipity and present moment magic, right? That I feel really gives you an opportunity and the permission to really feel alive, right? And really explore what's possible. For my part, now that I'm participating in this world, I've experienced a lot of things in my life and have a lot of stories to tell, and it's a really interesting way to share these experiences. I feel in a way that uplifts others and empowers others and moves others by infusing some of these inspirations and some of these stories of mine through this craft.
Because you create a lot of your own content, right?
I do, yeah.
Or you're doing writing, right?
Yeah. I do. I mean, my background in the startup world, I understand how to take an idea and not just wave it around, running up and down the street, with my crayons and saying, somebody help me. I know how to attract opportunity. I know how to create opportunity and package it and finance it, advance it, develop it, launch it, distribute it. I mean, I have that toolkit, right? So kind of my first journey into this world for me, again, has been really honing my craft and a lot of experimentation, taking some risks, throwing myself into the deep end, right? Walking into rooms and just kind of going for it, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. I remember scaring the shit out of one of the casting directors in town one day because I walked in full kind of warrior mode. I mean, I didn't walk in warrior mode, but the character was like a warrior. So I just dropped in and gave my best kind of feral version of that, which was a bit over the top. And I remember the look on her face and it just scared the shit out of her. And bless her. And she didn't even know what to do. And I said, hey, it's okay. I mean, that was just a choice.
That's what you said?
Yeah. And she was like, oh, good. Okay, cool. So we don't have to do that. We can do this. So I threw all that prep out on the moment. But but it was a breakthrough in that experience, right? Taking that risk with it because I actually felt I learned who the casting director was. I actually connected with her and kind of understood her, right? And I'm like, oh man, how cool are you, right? We just got a good vibe about it. So yeah, I've got some funny stories about that in this kind of phase of, throwing mud at the wall. But I mean, really, that's what it all is, right?
Just seeing what sticks.
Yeah, that's what all is.
In life,
all this
general,
stuff,
life
100%. You've got to throw mud at the wall, whether you're in this game or anything else. Your podcast, a YouTube channel, writing your own script. Nothing's going to happen if you don't.
Yeah, I find that since I've started acting too, creativity begets creativity. I want to do. I've started. I'm working on my voice, and I've done a little bit of writing. I'm more interested in music too. It just makes you want to do creative things.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also a vibration, right? So.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're about to drop in, folks. Get the sage out. Here,
get the mushrooms.
Zach just pointed me to the sage today, and he's like, "Have you ever seen this stuff, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, man."
Well, so Noelle, your friend Noelle,
Yeah.
who's my friend too, and your friend as well.
Yeah.
She came to my birthday, and she gave me some sage.
Aw.
Yeah, it's so sweet. And I didn't know what it was, but I always see people fucking around with it, and it looks like a massive joint. It does. It looks like a huge.
Well, that's a big brick, it doesn't always come that big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a big brick.
Yeah, it's
I only want the big bricks. It's nice holding it. I'm just going around my house like a dragon. But man, it makes the place just. You didn't smell when you came in?
I came in here and I was like, why does it smell like Duncan's place in here?
That's
right. That's funny.
Does he use it lots, I guess?
Yeah, I'm incense and stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome. I feel like you and Duncan are like twins a little bit. Just knowing who you are, like the stuff you're saying, I feel like I don't really know Duncan too well either, though. I'm just
Duncan's good people, man. Yeah. And we kind of feel the same.
That's awesome, yeah.
We first started connecting when we were auditioning together because we're both a couple of the few long-haired bearded cats in Vancouver, right? So when we first were in the waiting rooms, I mean, we're always kind of cool about it, whatever, but but we like kind of circled each other.
Right.
You know, just not in like too predatorial of a way, but you know what I mean? Just like, oh, we're all here for the gig, you know?
Yeah.
What's up, bro? Like,
Size each other
you know,
up a
I
little
mean,
bit.
that's kind of some of that action, right? But, you know, it was one of the first, I think, that we crossed paths with. We also realized we had some things in common. Mutual friends. We were both in Nica, in Nicaragua at the same time. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You discovered that after the fact?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then we started to chat more and, you know, open up. Yeah, we're on similar planes, you know.
I didn't mean to cut you off. We were going to say that you're about to hit us from some spiritual stuff.
You totally cut it off.
I know, I fucked up. I fucked it up.
You just killed my flow.
I fucked it up. Vibrations. There you go.
Yeah, but just to say, hey, let's honor Duncan, you know.
Yeah, let's honor Duncan. Yeah.
Tip of the hat.
Let's call this episode Duncan.
He's doing well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we've like, look, I mean, I celebrate everyone's successes, right? I feel when I'm in that room, I'm competing with myself.
Totally.
Right? So like, whoever gets it is meant to get it, and I got your back, you know what I mean? So like Duncan and I worked together on stuff and, you know, read for each other and things like that. It's dope. Like that's kind of the jam of, you know, artists supporting each other.
100%.
Totally. I feel like Vancouver's actually pretty good for that. I was chatting with Quinn, our friend Quinn, yesterday, and he said that we've both moved. He moved from Toronto. I moved from Edmonton, and I heard before I moved over here, it's so hard to make friends in Vancouver. I'm like, I never had an issue making friends here, especially in the acting community.
Well,
I think people are really supportive.
You're also super rad, Anna. Like you got this super open vibe about you, right?
Aw, thanks.
Great energy.
I was going to say, maybe like as an introvert coming to this city, I could see it being a tough time.
Yeah.
I'm sure Zach had a hard time.
Very difficult time.
But don't you feel like that people in the acting community, like I would do a short film and suddenly people are like, here's how to get an agent, and everybody just wants to help each other.
Well, I remember when I was making those comedy videos with Joey, we'd ask people to come onto our sketches, like, you know, girls and guys or whatever, and people were like, really, me? Like yeah. Like, yes, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people were so weird about the whole situation.
Yeah.
Even my podcast, like, sometimes I'll invite someone on that I follow them on Instagram for a little bit. And I'm like, this guy seems so curious and interesting. I'm like, hey, come on the podcast. And they're just like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You didn't win a prize. Like, you're not, like, you know.
I've had a few people that I've asked.
Wait a second. Sorry, you don't?
You're officially an up-and-comer.
All right.
I've actually had people too when I've asked them and they've been like, oh no, but I haven't, you know, I'm not ready, and like they haven't done enough, or like they don't want to come on, and I'm like, it's up and coming, man.
Yeah, up and coming, baby.
Yeah.
You've done something, right?
Yeah.
Like you're one phone call away, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And it could come in 20 minutes and things just shift.
It's like playing. I was chatting with Duncan about this. How something that we like about the lifestyle too of acting is that you can never just get into a routine, because there's always like an audition or a class always disrupting your algorithm, but in a good way, you know. So like I get an
Makes you
audition.
tough.
Yeah. So let's say I have an audition tomorrow. I have some plans tonight. Those plans are going to have to change, you know. I'm going to have to work on this audition, and I kind of like that. It keeps you in the present. It keeps you on your toes.
Fuck yeah. We need that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I lived most of my life not having that. And I definitely feel a lot more present, a lot more energized now that I have that.
100%. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's like when you have other things going on in your life, and then you have this thing that you're trying to do, or whether you're trying to create a crazy business or become an actor or a musician or whatever it is, there's a whole other thing that people don't like. If you have friends and all they do is work 9 to 5, and when I say all, I don't mean that in a negative way, but they work 9 to 5 and they have, like, you know, their girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever it is, and they're trying to create a family. And then there's you working 9 to 5, but you also have this like vision that you're trying to create and this goal that you're trying to do with your life. They don't understand that, and no one can understand that, right? And it does require you to sacrifice a lot of your time for it. You're pretty much Superman or a woman doing this situation.
Yeah, right. I mean, you have to have some confidence in it for sure.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah. People
are going to poke at you. They're going to prod at you.
Oh, yeah.
they talk about you.
That's the beauty
It's
of it,
all that
though.
kind of stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, just,
Learning to not give a shit.
And if they're
you
not,
are who you are,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And like embrace that
Yeah.
and trust that.
And if they're not talking about you, or people are not, I'm just assuming people are talking shit. If no one's doing that about you, I mean, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, if everybody around you is happy and pleased, like you're probably not living your authentic self, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, when I was running a public company once upon a time, I was traveling and I wrote my first song, and cut it in GarageBand, cut a video to it, and recorded this like whatever kind of DIY video of it. But I was running a kind of an industrial minded public company at the time in resources, right? And so I put this video out, and I don't know, I thought it was kind of dope. The vibe was cool and whatever, but I got lambasted by that community from it, right? Like people mocked my affinity for music and the arts and all that kind of stuff. I get the, get a haircut, or when you're going to shave, when you're going to assimilate kind of thing, right? Not to be so like, radical in language, but like that kind of a thing, right? And that's just not who I am. I mean, I'm an original take on all this.
Original piece,
right?
baby.
You know what I mean?
I want to frame you on my wall.
Oh, that's cool, bro. Yeah, well, maybe I'll send you that like still gift when we're done with a picture of this podcast.
There
It's
you
like,
go.
here I am, bro.
Yeah.
But that was it, and I kind of went, well, that's nice. I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, I got written up in trade papers like Chad the music guy or whatever, right? And it did feel pretty solitary in that passion before you kind of find your creative tribe, right?
Yeah.
And I just went, well, whatever, because this is what I dig. This is what I'm about. And when all this kind of attention or other people making it their issue about who I am subsides, I'm still going to love music. I'm still going to love the arts, right? I'm still going to perform. Kiss the sky, I guess, is the way I'd describe it, that feeling when you're totally just dropped in and dialed in and vibing,
Right.
It's huge magic. So say whatever you want. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Love it, man.
And
Love
that pulls you through like auditions, and that
Yeah.
pulls you through kind of like a bad day or
Tough times,
whatever.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you
You're
have
like,
to have that belief.
Well, it's confidence at the end of the day is what you're saying, right?
right, and you have to find it for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you feel confident?
Yeah. This conversation's firing me up a little bit.
I'm going to fire you up a lot by the time we're done.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much time you got, but like, I'm kind of, this is part of what I do too. I mean, I help people just in general, get their ideas off the ground, kind of lift their spirits and take on the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I help empower people with the tools to do that. About the time when I was feeling burnt, I just kind of had an epiphany, and I painted this painting, and it just said, "Help others live free," and I didn't know if that was like, a mantra with a comma in it, or how, like, it wasn't perfectly defined how, but I know that I just said, I've had enough of this. I mean, I'd go to get a tea from a coffee shop, and like the barista was giving me flack, right? I'd go to the bank, and the bank's like, sorry, we can't do this, or whatever. Like, it was just roadblocks all over the place, and I was getting tired of just that kind of relationship to my experience, right? So I went and I grabbed my suitcase, I packed it, I said bye to my family the next day, and the day later I just left. I left the city, my apartment fully furnished and everything, and I just said, I don't know if or when I'm coming back. And I just started traveling one day at a time. I just dropped into the flow. I said, I think there's more to life and more to everything than just that, what I was doing, because it didn't feel good.
You mean the corporate stuff?
Yeah, I was just like, there's just better vibes than what I'm doing right now. And so I could blame the world, right? Or I could take ownership of it and shift that energy and go and explore it. And I went on this huge like spiritual pilgrimage that really kind of, crystallized a lot of my big shifts, and just went traveling one day at a time and dragged this 80-pound, suitcase behind me with probably everything I could possibly fit in it, including a tent, right? I'm going, that was my alchemist journey.
Wild.
Yeah.
How long did you go for?
Yeah. A lot of people referred
To Into the Wild?
Yeah, as I was doing
a good
that.
movie?
Oh, have you not seen
No.
it?
Oh.
It's good, yeah.
We should watch it.
Oh, man,
it's like
I
one of
can-
my favorite movies.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Nice.
if I see you in the right light, I can just see you awakening right in front of me, pal. Yeah, this is like some big stuff. Into the Wild, it's like, it's serious, yeah. A true story,
Yeah.
right? And
It's Neil Hirsch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Vince
the
Vaughn?
guy's, yeah.
yeah, it's legit. Got to watch
That's
it.
based on this guy, Chris McCandless, who was like upper middle class, or he was pretty rich. He was well off. He had like a full ride. He was going to go to some Ivy League school.
Oh, sick.
And he cut up all of his credit cards and all of his ID documents and just left.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Went to Alaska.
This is about the search for meaning, right? And the search for self, and I feel the critical eye for ourselves and on ourselves in our own life experience. What was happening with him didn't serve him, It didn't feel right for him. He thought there was more.
Circle back to The Alchemist. It wasn't his
Yeah.
journey, right?
Yeah. I was just as you're telling me the story, I'm like, I just read a book about you, dude.
Yeah, it was quite wild. So I just went like one day at a time.
And what did the one day at a time turn into? Like, how long were you gone for?
About a year.
Really?
Yeah, I ended
Wow.
up as far south as northern Panama.
Wow.
Yeah, and just like solo, and just cross paths with everybody I was meant to cross paths with.
Expensive?
No, I'm pretty. What's the good word for that?
Frugal?
Frugal. Yeah, I'm pretty resourceful.
Resourceful.
But it's interesting, right? Like when you pack a suitcase like that, kind of what matters, So yeah, man, I just went and I camped out alongside the beach in California. I rode a bike from Santa Monica to San Diego. I just spontaneously was inspired to buy a beach cruiser pedal bike from a rental shop for $100. And then another one gave me like a kid's trailer. So I duct taped it to the bike. I threw the pack on the back and I rode it 250K to
On
San
a beach
Diego.
cruiser?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it wasn't like, and it kind of like rubbed, like the pedals rubbed, and you kind of get that like light resistance when you're pedaling. It was a super huge pain in the ass, but you kind of just like get through it as you go, and then you're in it, right? You're like, well, this is the bike that's meant to come with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I got a little basket for it, and I put my my iPad and a speaker in it, and then you turn your shirt into a headband, and you're fully immersed in the journey, right? And
How old were you when you did this?
This was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
So cool, dude.
Yeah, and it turned this huge thing. Like I got to San Diego, and then met these guys from France who were traveling into Mexico. So I jumped in a van with them. Next thing you know, we're driving into Tijuana, and then we drove the Baja, which was surreal. We got totally stuck in the desert, off-road, had to hike out like 6 hours, 5-6 hours, abandoned the van. Like, it was just surreal stuff you're experiencing, right? And then I went and lived in Cabo for a while when we got there, and went through what was like a Cat 4 hurricane. I think it landed as a high 3, but it was a direct hit. And I was living right on the marina, and so rode out this hurricane with the doors and windows open in my apartment, like lobby, right, with a couple other people, and wearing like one of those, token yellow rain suits, and just fully like you're just in it, right? And you're so far away from home as you know it. And you're so in the moment, and you're feeling everything. And man, like you just grow, right? But then as you're growing, you're connecting to this journey that you're meant to be on, and you trust it. I was in this hurricane. I didn't fear it. I was stuck in the desert. It was concerning. We needed to make smart choices, right? But I still trusted I was there because I was supposed to learn something from it, So you develop, and I developed anyways, this relationship to my life experience, which took a lot of that stress away. And I just saw things that were so, beautiful and just so miraculous, really, that you're just like, man, I'm all right. Everything's going to be okay. Like, there's a path for me, and I just trust that.
That's so sick.
Yeah,
I love
thanks,
that,
man.
That's
yeah.
cool. You definitely have to write a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like
I'll read it.
There's a doc coming about it because I've got some video footage and stuff. And,
oh, you got a documentary.
Yeah.
Did you have a cell phone when you did this year trip?
I did. Yeah.
But you just no social media or anything like that. I guess social media.
No, I did actually. Like I was, I was posting on Facebook and
okay, cool.
Instagram and stuff. Yeah, I feel like anyone I'd ever crossed paths with in my life appeared at some point on that journey to like connect with me through social media and give me like, support and good vibes and all that. Like it was wild, because you're out there, you're doing the work, and I don't know, or I didn't know if I would come back. I didn't know where it would take me. I just surrendered. I just surrendered to it. It's like, this is not the way. And then I start doing it, and then you're like, wow, this is the way. But which has brought me full circle back, right? I was in a relationship for a bit. We connected down in Central America, and so I kind of...
You were in a relationship in that year that you were gone?
No, but I reconnected with someone, I was close to at the time, and like, it felt right, and it was like, okay, I'm good. Like I've fulfilled my growth phase of this, So turned around and kind of came back to Canada, and lived back east for a while, and then came back to Vancouver,
Back east?
Toronto area. I've lived in a few places. Like I've lived back east. I've lived up north. I've lived down south, like in the Bahamas.
Wow.
Yeah, I've done some of this kind of stuff.
And you chose Vancouver, eh?
Well, Vancouver chose me. I mean, I'm born here.
Okay.
My family's here. So it's this great city where you can just kind of come and go.
It is a great city, man, for that, for sure.
Yeah, it's like a nice home base.
Yeah. Home base, yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So it's full circle for me, right? But then came back into this community, meaning, broadly Vancouver, just really on my terms, a balance I feel of my entrepreneurial skills and experience with kind of my with my woke ways, I guess, and like these kind of more creative and spiritual things I've come to learn and know, And
so how do you practice your spirituality?
Lots of ritual, I meditate at least once a day to start my day. I just drop in, and I've really tuned in with my meditation, and then if I need to, throughout the day, if I feel it's gotten a little wild, or I just need to kind of ground out. Mm-hmm. It's about listening to your body. It's about trusting your gut. It's about trusting your intuition, and there can be a lot of fear in that, because I feel we're firstly trained to think for the answer. And thinking about answers, I feel I've made a lot of mistakes. But I feel that trusting how I feel about my choices and letting that guide me to what I feel is the right choice has been, 100% batting average, right? So it's about just honoring that instrument, honoring that, that compass, and developing that in my practice. But yeah, all the good stuff. I was just putting a list together the other day, actually, because sometimes you just want to remind yourself of what opportunities you have to kind of practice mindful living that you aren't consciously following, or that you aren't really thinking about, But meditation's huge. I started listening to Deepak's guided meditations years ago, and at first it was super uncomfortable because I couldn't even really sit still. Like I was just like kind of twitchy, like, whatever, Deepak, like, come on. You know what I mean?
It almost sounds like you're saying Tupac.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Whatever, Tupac.
I used to listen to Tupac back in the day. There's no doubt. And,
Yeah.
And Biggie was some of my first music, But
Okay.
but Deepak has these great, 15-minute guided meditations, which were my intro into it. And then you kind of, evolve into it, and you feel your own path through it, make it your own, and, you go from there. And then obviously that is huge, I feel, for artists and huge for actors as well, just to really settle into your body and in the present moment, and bring that with you when you're performing.
You ever heard of the app called Calm? Calm app?
I have,
got that on
yeah.
my phone.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, there's like some meditation stuff on there too.
Yeah.
I like the sleep stories though on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of like memes and stuff going around right now because I think LeBron James is using
LeBron
that,
James is
right?
he's a big advocate of
and
it.
he's
Yeah.
having
Cool.
and he's having a good year. So
He's
everyone's
having a good
like-
year.
Everybody's like, give me that Calm app. What's up? What's up with the king?
Well, dude, it's. I
You
mean,
know?
I'm not a. Like, they obviously haven't hired me or anything, but it's only like $70 for the entire year. Download now. Use the promo code.
My
No,
affiliate
kidding.
link is below. so
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah.
No, but for real, it's good, man. And like the sleep stories, like you can get like Matthew McConaughey. And
What?
I gotta play actually a little bit of it for you guys. It's actually
oh my god,
hilarious.
Matthew McConaughey.
His is
lulling
legit.
You to sleep.
that's great.
He would have a good voice for that,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I'll show you guys some of this.
I've been wanting to get back into meditation. I used to do that more in Edmonton, but I haven't really found a good, I don't know.
Well, hello there. I'm Matthew McConaughey, and tonight I'll be reading a special sleep story called Wonder.
How nice is this?
Before we begin, as you settle in under the covers with your head,
It's amazing, man, dude. And they're
Yeah.
so good.
That's great.
There's so many good ones on here too. Oh man, like Stephen Fry. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because like a lot of this, this knowledge and insight, pre-social media, time.
Sorry.
A lot of it was considered like esoteric knowledge. Do you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like really, it was just really kind of hidden stuff and the wisdom of the few, right? And I can go way deep into that stuff, but not to digress too far.
Yeah.
But like it was, right? And now we're so connected that people are really getting tuned in, I feel, to learning a lot of amazing things about who we are and what's possible and kind of how to look after ourselves, right? But then deeper still, and to get like about it for a minute, I mean, it's a journey of, of self-love, right? And that's what the arts are for sure. I mean, if you enjoy it, you enjoy feeling, you enjoy experiencing magic and creating it, participating in this community, I feel is about that, right? It's a journey deeper into, that exploration of the self and the kind of the healthy components of the self and the expression of the self, right? Which requires that confidence and that self-love to do it. And these types of apps like Calm or, plant-based nutrition or similar is about, looking after yourself. For me, sobriety. I mean, what was I suppressing when I was partying? I was good at it, and I was leading the parade and to kind of tequila shots for everybody at the time. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but then if that's hurting me ultimately, why am I doing it? And that's where those inflection points started to come, right? So, yeah, that's really what the movement, I feel, is all about. And I infuse that into my craft and the types of projects I like to create and be a part of, and the types of people I like to work with. Non-abusive, right? Like, that's just a thing. Mutual respect. Like, there's just a lot of cultural things I seek in the people I work with and the people I co-create with and whatever. And again, like, no judgment. For those types of cultures usually come from places of pain, right? So I hold space and help people kind of shift the way they play and the way they grow and the things they want to do. But it's those types of tools, and they're having a huge impact, right?
Huge.
It's amazing.
Well, man, you're sleeping for 8 hours a day. Now, you should be anyways.
Right.
If you're if you're tucked away that long,
yeah,
why not make it enjoyable or do something about it, right?
Oh, I'll send you some stuff. Like, there's all kinds of different vibrational things. And
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm into it, man.
Yeah, and you get into kind of Tesla and that whole world of philosophy and science, right? We are energy beings, Our atoms are vibrating as we're here talking. How are they vibrating, right? It's all about that, and I'm a high vibration living kind of guy, you know what I mean? So I'm on that train, and yeah, it's been a lot of shifts, and one of the highest natural highs I feel is performing. I go into that room and bless all of you great people out there that let me in. Truly, I mean, it's just it's just such a gift, and then equally, on set and otherwise, because it's a space, it's an energy space. When I go in and play, I'm just so open. I open right up. I'm out of my mind. I'm into my body. I'm in the moment. All this magic meets me there, and every time I feel I'm growing.
Right.
That's why I'm there, right?
Yeah.
And then to share that with people, and if I'm on the right kind of stories that I'm jiving with, or the right projects I'm jiving with, kind of the output of my experience in that, if that can, inspire people or, lift people up or help people think, deeper about, things we need to consider socially or otherwise, that's a profound ripple, that's a deep impact. And, and I mean a deep impact, socially on our world, right? There's a lot of power in this craft. And so, I wield that awareness consciously and collectively. It's all a big part of why I'm here and what I'm doing and where I intend to take it from here. So yeah, I'm writing, I'm doing all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We got new scripts on my desk. I'm packaging things up, casting and attaching. While on the other side, if the phone rings and somebody needs me to kind of run in and be like the hippie or the Western gangster or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I'm like, let's do it. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, totally.
It's awesome, right?
That's sweet, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just a big journey, dude. That's what it is. And everyone has they're just trying to figure it out themselves, and everyone has their own way of doing it. But it's, dude, talking to you is so you're so, I feel like I'm a calm person.
Yeah.
And literally, dude, you're you make a whole other dimension for calm. You're so calm, dude. It's
wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll call me to sponsor the app. I don't know.
Totally.
Calm, if you're listening, I am available for a calm
I am
commercial
too.
spot. You know what I mean?
Me, you, and LeBron James. We'll take photos together.
Hey, dude, that'd be a great day.
I got to wrap this podcast up.
You can put the photo on your wall.
Yeah, exactly. Right next to it. I got to wrap this podcast up because I got to train a couple of clients. But dude, thanks for coming.
Hey, dope.
Thanks
for
appreciate
having
you.
me. Yeah,
Hey,
I appreciate you guys. 100%.
Where can people find you?
ChadMc.com is my website. At Chad Mcmillan on Instagram.
I'll have your Instagram tag below.
Yeah, that's cool. I've got my channels, YouTube, big and Pinterest.
You vlog and stuff too. You're telling me.
Yeah, I've got that channel going for sure. got my Vimeo. I got all kinds of content coming down the pipe, and cool projects and products and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm having fun. Like I said, I'm just creating and flexing, and
just see what sticks.
But doing it, but not just seeing what sticks. Like doing it with like clear intention. You know, doing it with like positive resonance. To just look to make positive contributions and positive impacts in our world, and through all these different channels, and this as well. So thanks for having me, guys. This is super fun.
Love it, dude.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on.
All right,
and we will see you guys. We say next
after the holidays, I think. Right?
I think I'm gonna make a little episode for the holidays.
Yeah.
Well.
From Edmonton, or are you thinking?
No, from here.
You and me?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a holiday special.
Yeah, me and you. Jesus
and then I
Christ.
take you out for your birthday lunch.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, see you guys.
Bye.